chamber floated in the void between stars, a massive structure of crystal and light that had witnessed 10,000 years of peace. Inside, representatives from 847 species gathered in the Great Council Hall of the Galactic Concordat. The air shimmered with translation fields, turning thousands of languages into understanding. Ambassador Thelnara of the Confederation stood at the central podium, his forearms spread wide in distress. His silver skin had turned pale, a sign of deep fear among his people. Behind him, holographic displays showed burning worlds and shattered fleets. "The Vraxian Empire has broken every treaty," Thelnara said, his voice carrying to every corner of the vast hall. "They have conquered 12 systems in 3 months. Our fleets cannot stop them. They are too many, too ruthless." The council members shifted uncomfortably. Some had scales, others had fur, and many had forms that human eyes would struggle to comprehend. But they all shared one thing now: worry. The Vraxians had been part of the Concordat once. They were a warrior species, proud and strong, with ships that could crack planets. For centuries they had followed the laws of peace. Then their new emperor, Vraxthul, decided that the Concordat made them weak. He wanted conquest. He wanted an empire that would rule the galaxy. "We need soldiers," said Council Prime Zendara, a being of pure energy contained in a force field suit. "We must draft forces from all member species. Even the younger civilizations must contribute." A wave of concerned murmurs rolled through the chamber. The younger civilizations were species that had not yet mastered faster-than-light travel. They were protected by Concordat law, slowly guided toward advancement. Using them as soldiers was almost unthinkable. "You mean species like the humans?" asked Representative Korth, a massive creature with stone-like skin. "Yes," Zendara replied. "Earth was contacted 30 years ago. They have shown promise. They have weapons, ships, and billions of potential soldiers. They may be primitive, but they can hold weapons and follow orders." At the back of the hall, in the section reserved for junior members, Dr. Sarah Chen sat perfectly still. She was Earth's ambassador, one of only 5 humans who had been allowed to leave their solar system. She wore a simple blue suit, and her dark hair was pulled back in a practical style. Compared to the exotic aliens around her, she looked plain, almost fragile. "Ambassador Chen," Zendara's voice cut through the noise, "Earth will provide 5 million soldiers within 2 months. This is not a request. This is the price of Concordat membership." Sarah stood slowly. Every eye, sensor, and perception organ in the chamber turned toward her. She walked to the speaker's platform, her footsteps the only sound in the massive hall. "Council Prime," she said, her voice calm and clear. "Earth refuses." The chamber erupted in shocked sounds. Some species hissed, others roared, and several made noises that the translation fields could not properly convert. "You refuse?" Zendara's energy form flickered with anger. "Your species is level 2 on the development scale. You have no faster-than-light travel. You have no shields, no plasma weapons, no quantum processors. You exist in our galaxy by our permission. You will provide soldiers, or Earth will be expelled from the Concordat and face complete trade isolation." Sarah met the energy being's gaze without fear. "We will not send our people to die as untrained cannon fodder in a war we did not start. However, we would like to make a counteroffer." "A counteroffer?" Thelnara laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "What could your primitive world possibly offer?" "Give us 6 months," Sarah said. "Do not send us specifications for your weapons. Do not give us your technology. Just give us 6 months and Earth will end this war." The chamber fell silent. Then the laughter began. It started with one representative, then spread like fire through the hall. The idea was absurd, ridiculous. A pre-FTL species barely capable of reaching their own moon, claiming they could end a war that the galaxy's greatest military powers were losing. 6 months? Korth bellowed, his deep voice shaking the air. "The Vraxian fleet will have conquered 50 more systems by then. They will enslave billions, and you think you, a species that still uses chemical rockets, can stop them?" Sarah smiled. It was a small smile, but there was something in it that made a few of the more observant representatives pause. It was not the smile of someone making an empty boast. It was the smile of someone holding a secret. "I understand your skepticism," she said, "but humanity has survived on a dangerous world, surrounded by predators for millions of years. We have fought wars against ourselves that nearly destroyed our entire planet. We have built weapons that can split atoms and end civilizations. And we have learned one important lesson that perhaps the galaxy has forgotten. And what lesson is that? Zendara asked, his tone mocking. That peace is a choice, not a natural state, and that those who want peace must be capable of terrible war. The laughter died down. Something in Sarah's tone made the ancient species uncomfortable. They had been so powerful for so long that they had forgotten what it meant to fight for survival. Your proposal is rejected, Zendara declared. Earth will provide soldiers within 2 months or face the consequences. This council is adjourned. Sarah bowed slightly and returned to her seat. As the representatives filed out of the chamber, several approached her with curiosity. Most wanted to warn her that Earth was making a mistake. A few wanted to know what made her so confident. Ambassador Chen, Thelnara said, approaching her with his diplomatic attaché. I mean no disrespect to your species, but you must understand the reality of this situation. The Vraxians have ships powered by quantum reactors. They have weapons that can glass planets. They have shields that can withstand nuclear blasts. What could Earth possibly have that would make a difference? Sarah gathered her documents and looked up at the tall alien. Ambassador Thelnara, your species has been exploring space for 12,000 years. You have mastered energy and matter. You can bend space and time. But tell me something. Have you ever wondered why the universe is mostly empty? Thelnara's skin rippled with confusion. Empty? I do not understand. The universe is not mostly made of planets and stars and ships, Sarah explained. Those things, the things you can see and touch, make up only 15% of reality. The other 85% is something else. Something invisible, something your scientists call dark matter. Yes, we know of dark matter, Thelnara said impatiently. It is undetectable. It cannot be touched or used. It is simply mass that holds galaxies together. That's what everyone thinks, Sarah said softly. Everyone except humans. She picked up her case and walked toward the exit. At the doorway, she paused and looked back at the confused ambassador. You asked what Earth could possibly have. In 6 months, you'll find out. We've been preparing for first contact since the 20th century. We knew the galaxy might be dangerous. We knew we might need to defend ourselves. So we learned to weaponize what everyone else ignores. And what is that? Thelnara called after her. Sarah's smile was gone now, replaced by something harder. Something ancient in human nature, darkness itself. She left the chamber, leaving behind hundreds of confused and dismissive aliens. They thought she was bluffing. They thought humans were primitive and desperate. They had no idea that in the cold darkness of Earth's outer solar system, something was already waiting, something that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. They would learn soon enough. The countdown had begun. The Oort cloud was a region of space so far from the sun that light took hours to reach it. Here, billions of ice chunks and rocks floated in the darkness, remnants from when the solar system was born. No alien ship had ever bothered to scan this far out. There was nothing here worth finding, or so they thought. Admiral Marcus Webb floated in the observation deck of the construction station, watching the impossible sight before him. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes, a veteran of Earth's last great war. He had killed before. He had watched friends die, but nothing in his long military career had prepared him for this. The shipyard stretched for thousands of kilometers, a structure so massive it would have been visible from Earth if anyone had known to look for it. But it was not made of metal or stone. It was made of darkness itself, woven from dark matter into a framework that human eyes could barely perceive. It looked like a shadow in space, a hole where reality should be. And inside that shadow, ships were being born. Sir, the Valkyrie is complete, said Commander Lisa Park, checking her datapad. She was young, brilliant, and one of the few scientists who had cracked the dark matter equations. That makes 500. The fleet is ready. Marcus nodded slowly, but his expression remained troubled. Tell me again how this is possible. Lisa floated over to him, her magnetic boots clicking on the deck. Dark matter makes up 85% of all matter in the universe. It is everywhere, invisible, passing through normal matter without interaction. Every species in the galaxy knows this. But they all made the same assumption, that because it does not interact with normal matter, it cannot be used. But we found a way, Marcus said. Dr. Kenji Yamamoto found a way, Lisa corrected. Back in 2087, he discovered that dark matter does interact with itself through gravity. He theorized that with enough energy we could manipulate its structure, shape it, and use it. Marcus turned to look at her. And the weapons? Lisa's face grew dark. Dark matter weapons do not hit their targets, sir. They exist in the same space as their targets. When we fire, we are not sending a projectile. We are creating a localized collapse of dark matter into normal matter. The energy released is catastrophic. Show me, Marcus ordered. Lisa brought up a holographic recording from the weapons test 3 days ago. In the video, a massive asteroid the size of Earth's moon floated peacefully in space. Then the test ship, the Reaper, fired its main cannon. There was no visible beam, no missile, no explosion. The asteroid simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there, solid and ancient. The next moment it was gone, converted into a flash of radiation that would have blinded every sensor within a light year. Quantum conversion, Lisa explained quietly. We are turning matter into pure energy at the atomic level. No shield in the galaxy can stop it because dark matter passes through conventional shields. They might as well be made of air. Marcus felt sick. He had commanded destroyers and cruisers. He had fired missiles and railguns. Those were clean, predictable weapons. This was something else. This was the power to erase things from existence. How many people died to make this possible? He asked. Lisa hesitated. The early experiments had casualties. Dr. Yamamoto himself was killed in the first successful test. 47 researchers in total. But they knew the risks, sir. They knew Earth needed this, did they? Marcus challenged. Or did we just convince ourselves that any price was worth paying for survival? Sir, the Vraxian Empire is burning worlds, Lisa said firmly. The Concordat has lost 3,000 ships. If we do nothing, humanity will be next. Would you rather we face them with chemical rockets and nuclear weapons? Marcus had no answer to that. She was right, and he knew it. But that did not make it easier. The door to the observation deck hissed open. Captain James Rodriguez entered, his face grim. He was the commander of the flagship, the Phantom, and Marcus's oldest friend. The crews are assembled, James said. All 500 ships are staffed and ready. But Marcus, we need to talk about the side effects. Side effects? Marcus asked. James pulled up another holographic display. It showed brain scans of the crew members who had been piloting the dark matter ships during training exercises. Strange patterns flickered in their neural pathways like shadows moving through their thoughts. The ships are partially phased out of normal space-time, James explained. The crews are experiencing temporal anomalies. Some report seeing things that have not happened yet. Others feel like they are in two places at once. The medical team says extended exposure might cause permanent psychological damage. Marcus closed his eyes. Another cost. Another price paid for power. How long can the crews operate safely? He asked. 6 months, maybe a year, James said. After that, we will need to rotate them out and bring in new crews. If we use these ships long-term, we will need thousands of trained operators. Then we better make sure we only need to use them once, Marcus said firmly. He turned to address both of them. I want to make something very clear. These ships, these weapons, they are not the future of humanity. They are a tool for survival, nothing more. The moment this war is over, I will personally recommend that we dismantle every dark matter weapon we have built. Sir, that would leave us defenseless, Lisa protested. No, Marcus corrected. It would leave us human. There is a difference between having the power to destroy and choosing to use it. We are about to show the galaxy what humans can do when we are cornered. But afterward, we need to show them what we choose to be when we are safe. A communications alert sounded. The face of Dr. Sarah Chen appeared on the screen, transmitting from the Concordat Council Station. Admiral Webb, she said, her voice tight with urgency. The Vraxians have engaged Concordat forces at Proxima Reach. 12,000 enemy ships against 3,000 defenders. The Concordat is being massacred. They are calling for anyone who can help. Marcus felt his stomach turn. This was it. The moment humanity stepped onto the galactic stage. How long until they are overrun? He asked. 2 hours, maybe 3, Sarah said. Marcus, the galaxy is watching. What you do next will define how every species sees humanity for centuries to come. Marcus looked out at the shadow fleet. 500 ships that should not exist, built with technology that bent the rules of reality itself. Each ship was crewed by volunteers who knew they might not survive. Each weapon could erase matter from existence. Tell the Concordat help is coming, Marcus said. Helm, plot a course for Proxima Reach. All ships prepare for dark matter phase jump. Sir, James said quietly. Once we do this, there is no going back. The galaxy will know what we are capable of. I know, Marcus replied. That is the point. The Vraxians think they are the strongest. The Concordat thinks we are primitive. Both of them are about to learn that humanity has been hiding something in the darkness. He pressed the fleet-wide communication button. His face appeared on screens in 500 ships, seen by 10,000 human sailors who had volunteered for this mission. This is Admiral Webb. In a few minutes, we will enter combat against an enemy that outnumbers us 24-1. They have better shields, more experience, and weapons they have perfected over centuries. But they have one critical disadvantage. He paused, letting his words sink in. They think they know what war is. They think they have seen everything the universe can throw at them. They are wrong. We are humans. We were born on a world that tried to kill us every day. We survived ice ages and predators and plagues. We fought wars against ourselves that turned cities to ash. We split the atom when we barely understood electricity, and now we have learned to weaponize the fabric of reality itself. His voice grew harder, colder. When we arrive at Proxima Reach, we will not ask for mercy. We will not offer surrender. We will show them what happens when you threaten humanity's future. We will show them what we have been building in the darkness. And when it is over, the galaxy will remember this day as the moment everything changed. He raised his hand. All ships, phase jump in 3, 2, 1. Execute. Space tore open like paper. The 500 ships of humanity's Phantom Armada stopped existing in normal space and slipped sideways into the dark matter dimension, traveling faster than light without ever technically moving. Behind them, the construction station began to disassemble itself, erasing the evidence of its existence. Ahead of them, at Proxima Reach, thousands of ships were dying, and none of them, friend or enemy, had any idea what was coming. The ghosts were on their way. The battle at Proxima Reach had been raging for 2 hours, and it was not going well for the Concordat. Admiral Thel Nara stood on the bridge of his flagship, the eternal light watching his fleet die around him. His forearms moved frantically across control panels, trying to coordinate what remained of his forces. Explosions lit up the view screen as another Concordat destroyer broke apart under Vraxian fire. Shields at 20%, his tactical officer reported, her voice shaking. Hull breaches on decks 7 through 12. We have lost 38 ships. The Vraxians have barely lost 100. Thelnara's silver skin had turned almost white with stress. The math was simple and terrible. 3,000 Concordat ships against 12,000 Vraxian warships. His people were skilled, but they were scientists and explorers at heart. The Vraxians were warriors bred for conquest. On the main view screen, the enemy fleet commander appeared. Zethkara was a massive creature, nearly 3 meters tall, with crimson scales and 4 eyes that glowed with cruel intelligence. Behind him, his command crew roared in triumph. "Admiral Thelnara," Zethkara said, his voice like grinding metal, "your fleet is broken. Your shields are failing. I offer you one chance. Surrender now, and your crews will be given the mercy of slavery. Refuse, and we will hunt down every escape pod and execute every survivor." Thelnara wanted to scream defiance, but he looked at the tactical display and saw only death. His ships were surrounded. Every escape route was blocked. In minutes, maybe an hour at most, his entire fleet would be destroyed. "All ships," he said quietly, his voice heavy with defeat, "prepare to activate self-destruct protocols. We will not give the Vraxians the satisfaction of capture." His bridge crew looked at him with resignation. They had known this might be how it ended. Better to die free than live as slaves. "Sir," the sensor officer suddenly shouted, "I am detecting spatial anomalies." Multiple signatures appearing at the edge of the system. Thelnara's attention snapped to the sensors. "Reinforcements? From where?" "I do not know, sir. The signatures are unlike anything in our database. They are not using wormholes or hyperspace lanes. It is as if space itself is tearing open." On the view screen, everyone could see it now. Points of absolute darkness appeared in space like holes punched through reality. They grew larger, spreading like cracks in glass. And through those cracks, ships emerged. 500 vessels, each one wrong in a way that made sensors scream errors. They were not quite solid, not quite there. They flickered at the edge of perception, like shadows that moved independently of light. Their hulls seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, making them look like ship-shaped voids in space. "What are those?" Thelnara whispered. The communications officer's voice was stunned. "Sir, I am receiving a transmission. It is from Earth, from Admiral Marcus Webb." The view screen split. On one side, Zethkara's confident face. On the other, a human in a dark uniform, his expression cold and tired. "Concordat forces," Marcus said calmly. "This is the Earth Defense Fleet. We received your distress call. Hold your positions. We will handle this." Zethkara burst into laughter. "The humans? The primitive apes who barely have chemical rockets? You bring 500 ships against my 12,000? This will be amusing." Marcus did not smile. "You have one chance to withdraw. Take it and you will live. Stay and you will be added to the list of species that learn too late what humans are capable of when threatened." "Threatening me?" Zethkara roared. "I will crack your homeworld and feed your survivors to my pets. All ships, destroy the human fleet. Show them what real warriors look like." 4,000 Vraxian ships broke formation and charged toward the human fleet. Their plasma cannons lit up space with deadly fire. Missiles streaked across the void. Energy weapons capable of melting mountains focused on the approaching human ships. The attacks passed through the human vessels like light through water. "What?" Zethkara's confidence wavered. "Shields? How do they have shields?" "Sir," his sensor officer stammered, "those are not shields. The human ships, they are not entirely in normal space. They are phased somehow. Our weapons cannot hit targets that are only partially real." Marcus's voice cut across the channel. "You wanted to see what we are capable of. Watch closely." The human ships shimmered and became more solid. They were committing to reality, making themselves vulnerable. For a moment, Zethkara felt hope. Then the humans opened fire. There was no visible beam, no projectile, no warning. A Vraxian battlecruiser simply ceased to exist. One instant it was there, shields at full power, armor plating thick enough to withstand nuclear blasts. The next instant there was only an expanding cloud of energy where matter had been converted into light. Then another ship vanished. And another. And another. The human fleet moved through the Vraxian formation like death itself. They phased in and out of reality. Impossible to target, impossible to predict. Where they focused their attention, ships died. Not exploded, not damaged, simply erased from existence. "All ships fall back," Zethkara ordered, his voice rising in panic. "Concentrate fire. Focus on individual targets." The Vraxian fleet tried to regroup, tried to bring their superior numbers to bear. It did not matter. The human ships moved like ghosts, appearing behind enemy formations, firing and disappearing before return fire could connect. They were hunting, methodical and ruthless. A human frigate, the Revenant, phased directly through a Vraxian dreadnought. As it passed, it existed in the same space as the larger ship for a fraction of a second. The dark matter collision left the dreadnought a hollow shell, its interior converted to energy while the hull drifted intact but empty. Thelnara watched in horror and awe. He had seen battles before. He had witnessed Concordat fleet actions against pirates and rebels. But this was not a battle. This was an extermination. The humans were not fighting. They were removing obstacles with the efficiency of a machine. "Sir," his sensor officer said, voice shaking, "the Vraxians have lost 4,000 ships. No, 5,000, 6,000. They cannot even slow the humans down." On the other half of the view screen, Zethkara's command bridge was chaos. Alarms blared. Officers shouted reports. The mighty Vraxian commander, who had conquered a dozen systems, looked terrified. "Retreat," he screamed. "All ships, emergency jump. Get us out of here." But the human fleet had already anticipated that. They had positioned themselves around the system's hyperspace exit points. Every ship that tried to jump to safety found a human vessel waiting, phasing into existence just long enough to fire, then disappearing again. Marcus's voice was emotionless. "You wanted total war. You wanted to demonstrate strength. Now you see what war looks like when you pick the wrong enemy." In 47 minutes, 12,000 Vraxian warships were reduced to 400 survivors. Those 400 were allowed to escape, fleeing in terror. The human fleet did not pursue. They simply stopped, hovering in space like predators that had finished feeding. Thelnara realized he had been holding his breath. His entire bridge crew was silent, stunned. They had been saved, but at what cost? What had humanity become? Marcus's face appeared on the view screen again, now addressing the Concordat fleet. "Admiral Thelnara, your ships are safe. We will maintain position until you can make repairs and evacuate your wounded. After that, we will return to Earth." "Admiral Webb," Thelnara managed to say, his voice barely above a whisper. "What? What are you? What have you done?" Marcus was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, there was sadness in his voice. We became what we needed to become to survive. We weaponized the darkness between stars. We learned to kill on a scale that should not be possible, and we did it because you told us we were too primitive to matter, that our lives were worth less than more advanced species. But this power, Thelnara protested, these weapons, nothing in the galaxy can stand against them. I know, Marcus said. That is why when this war is over, we will dismantle them. We built these ships to survive, not to rule. But first we need to make sure that every species in the galaxy understands one simple truth. What truth? That humanity, the species you called primitive, the civilization you dismissed as level 2 is not to be threatened. Not now, not ever. We are the species that looked at the universe and saw that 85% of it was invisible. While you mastered what you could see, we mastered what you could not. We weaponized nothing itself. Marcus leaned forward, his expression hard. Go back to the Concordat Council. Tell them what you saw here. Tell them that Earth is no longer asking for time. We are offering our help to end this war. And when it is over, we will expect a seat at the table, not as junior members, but as equals. The transmission ended. The human fleet began to fade, phasing back into the dark matter dimension, becoming ghosts again. Within minutes they were gone, leaving behind only the evidence of their terrible power. Thousands of debris fields and one message that would echo across the galaxy. Humanity had arrived. And the galaxy would never be the same. Thelnara looked at his tactical officer. Send a priority message to the Concordat Council. Tell them everything. And tell them that we were wrong. We were so very, very wrong about the humans. What should I say they are, sir? The officer asked. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Within hours of the Battle of Proxima Reach, every major civilization knew what had happened. Sensor recordings were analyzed by military experts. Survivors gave their testimonies. And everywhere the reaction was the same. Fear. On the Concordat Council station, emergency sessions were being held around the clock. Representatives who had once dismissed Earth as a primitive backwater now spoke the name humanity with hushed respect, or naked terror depending on their perspective. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the observation gallery above the council floor, watching the chaos unfold. Beside her stood Ambassador Thelnara, who had returned from Proxima Reach still shaken by what he had witnessed. They are calling you demons, Thelnara said quietly, gesturing to the arguing representatives below. The Corthian delegation wants you banned from the Concordat. The Selenar Collective is demanding that you share your technology so it can be countered. The Merchant Guild is terrified that you will use your fleet to enforce trade monopolies. Sarah watched the panic below without expression. And what are you calling us, Ambassador? Thelnara was quiet for a long time. I am calling you the most dangerous species I have ever encountered. And I am grateful you are on our side. Are we? Sarah asked. On your side, I mean. The Concordat was ready to sacrifice 5 million humans as cannon fodder. You wanted our people to die in a war we did not start. Fighting with weapons we did not have against an enemy we had never met. Why should we care what happens to the rest of the galaxy? Because you do care, Thelnara said, meeting her eyes. I saw the recordings from Proxima Reach. Your Admiral Webb could have destroyed the Vraxian survivors. He could have eliminated every single ship. But he let them go. He let them carry the message back to their empire. That is not the action of demons. That is the action of people who understand mercy. Below them, Council Prime Zandara called for order. His energy form flickered with agitation. We must address the human question immediately, Zandara declared. They possess weapons that bypass our defenses. They can phase in and out of space itself. No species in recorded history has wielded such power. We must decide, are they our salvation or our doom? An ancient representative from the Ether civilization, a race that had mastered genetic engineering millions of years ago, raised a crystalline appendage to speak. I have studied Earth's history, the Ether said, his voice like wind chimes. They are a violent species. In their last 5,000 years, they have fought over 14,000 wars. They have created weapons capable of destroying their own world multiple times. They have committed genocides against their own kind based on trivial genetic differences. Now we have given them access to the galaxy, and they have responded by building weapons that make our greatest fears look like children's toys. A younger representative from the Talus Federation stood up, but they also have art, philosophy, and compassion. Their literature speaks of peace and unity. They have organizations dedicated to helping those in need. They are contradictory, yes, but so is every species. Contradictory, the Ether replied coldly. They are chaos given form. They should be contained before they destroy us all. Sarah had heard enough. She descended the stairs to the council floor, her footsteps echoing in the sudden silence. Every eye turned to watch the human ambassador approach the central podium. May I speak? She asked Zendara. The council prime hesitated, then nodded. The council recognizes Ambassador Chen of Earth. Sarah stood at the podium where, months ago, she had been told that humanity would provide cannon fodder or face isolation. She looked different now. Not in appearance, but in the way the other ambassadors watched her. They no longer saw a representative of a primitive species. They saw someone whose people could erase them from existence. You are afraid, Sarah said simply. I understand that. You should be afraid. We are afraid too. Murmurs of surprise rippled through the chamber. You think we built these weapons because we are violent? You are partially right. But you are missing the bigger truth. We built these weapons because we are terrified. She pulled up a holographic image of Earth, blue and green and beautiful. This is our home. One world. One fragile planet full of people who have only just learned that we are not alone in the universe. When we first detected your signals, when we realized that the galaxy was full of ancient civilizations with technology thousands of years ahead of ours, we had to make a choice. The image changed, showing human cities, children playing, families together. We could assume you were peaceful, that you would welcome us with open arms and guide us gently into the galactic community. Many of our people wanted to believe that. But our history taught us a different lesson. Now the images showed human wars, conquered peoples, broken civilizations. When technologically advanced societies meet primitive ones in our own history, it rarely ends well for the primitives. So we had to ask ourselves, what if the galaxy is not safe? What if first contact means conquest or slavery or extinction? What do? She looked around the chamber at the hundreds of different species. We did what humans always do when we are afraid. We prepared. We researched. We built weapons, not because we wanted to use them, but because we were terrified of being helpless. And when you demanded that we send our people to die in your war, when you proved that you did not care about human lives, we realized our fears were justified. Zendara's energy form pulsed angrily. We were fighting for the survival of the Concordat. And we are fighting for the survival of our species, Sarah shot back. The difference is that we are not asking anyone else to die for us. We built our own weapons. We risked our own people, and we won. The Ether representative spoke up. But now you have power beyond anything the galaxy has seen. What is to stop you from becoming conquerors yourselves? What stopped Admiral Webb from destroying all the Vraxian survivors? Sarah countered. What stopped us from simply taking what we want from Concordat space? Choice. Conscience. The same things that stop most people from doing terrible things even when they can. She paused, letting that sink in. You want to know what humanity will do with our power? I will tell you. We will use it to protect ourselves and those who treat us as equals. We will not tolerate being treated as inferior. We will not allow our people to be used as expendable soldiers. And we will end this war with the Vraxian Empire because it threatens us indirectly. But after that, she looked directly at Zendara. After that, we want peace. We want to trade, to learn, to be part of this galactic community. But we will be part of it as equals, or we will remain separate. The choice is yours. Far away in the heart of the Vraxian Empire, Emperor Vraxthul received the reports from the survivors of Proxima Reach. He was a massive creature, covered in battle scars, seated on a throne made from the hull of his first conquered ship. Impossible, he growled, watching the sensor recordings for the 10th time. No species can have such power. The survivors are cowards who invented excuses for their failure. His chief military advisor, General Kresh, stepped forward nervously. My Emperor, we have confirmed the reports from multiple independent sources. The humans have some form of dark matter technology. They can phase their ships out of normal space and fire weapons that our shields cannot block. Then we will adapt, Vraxthul declared. We will research dark matter. We will build our own phase ships. And when we are ready, we will crush this upstart species and prove that the Vraxian Empire is supreme. But my Emperor, Kresh said carefully, that could take years, decades. The humans have clearly been researching this for a long time, and in the meantime they have offered to help the Concordat end the war. If we continue fighting, we will face their fleet. Vraxthul stood, his massive form casting shadows across the command chamber. You suggest we surrender? That the mighty Vraxian Empire should bow to a species that only left its homeworld 30 years ago? I suggest we survive, Kresh said quietly. Our fleet at Proxima Reach was our largest force. We lost 12,000 ships in less than an hour. If we continue this war, there may be no empire left to rule. The Emperor was silent, his four eyes blazing with rage and humiliation. He had never retreated before. He had never admitted defeat. But he also had never faced an enemy like this. Send a message to the human admiral, he finally said, each word like poison in his mouth. Tell him that the Vraxian Empire requests a ceasefire to discuss terms. A ceasefire, my emperor? Not a surrender? I said ceasefire, Vraxthul snarled. We will buy time. We will learn their secrets. And one day, when we have matched their technology, we will return. The humans have won a battle, but the war is far from over. What the Emperor did not know was that humanity had already predicted this. Admiral Webb, Dr. Sarah Chen, and the Earth Coalition government had run thousands of simulations. They knew that a wounded predator was still dangerous. They knew that the Vraxian Empire would not give up its desire for conquest. That was why humanity had already begun working on Phase 2 of their plan. If the galaxy would not accept peace, then humanity would have to enforce it. Not through conquest, but through deterrence so absolute that no one would dare threaten Earth or its allies. They called it Eclipse Protocol. The ceasefire lasted 3 months, and it was a lie. Admiral Marcus Webb stood in the Strategic Command Center deep beneath Earth's surface, watching intelligence reports scroll across holographic displays. Spy satellites, informant networks, and dark matter sensors all told the same story. The Vraxian Empire was rebuilding. They are constructing shipyards in the Kelthera Nebula, Commander Lisa Park reported, highlighting a region of space clouded by dense gas. Our scouts detected at least 50 new dreadnoughts under construction. They are also recruiting mercenaries from non-concordate species. How long until they have a fleet large enough to threaten us? Marcus asked. 6 months, maybe 8, Lisa said. They are learning fast. We intercepted communications suggesting they have captured some of our dark matter signatures and are trying to reverse engineer the technology. Marcus nodded grimly. He had expected this. Predators do not stop being predators just because they lose one fight. They adapt, they learn, and they come back stronger. What about Eclipse Protocol? He asked quietly. The room fell silent. Eclipse Protocol was the contingency plan that even most of Earth's government did not know about. It was the final demonstration, the ultimate deterrent, and it would require a sacrifice that would haunt humanity for generations. Dr. Sarah Chen entered the command center, looking tired. She had been in constant negotiations with the Concordat Council for weeks trying to establish permanent peace. But the galaxy was too fractured, too full of old hatreds and territorial ambitions. The Council will not enforce a disarmament treaty, Sarah reported. Too many species want to maintain their military strength. They see the Vraxian threat as temporary, but they see humanity as permanent. We are the new power they cannot control, and it terrifies them. So we are alone, Marcus said. Not entirely, Sarah replied. Ambassador Thelnara and a few others support us, but most of the galaxy is waiting to see what happens when the Vraxians come for Earth. They want to know if we can be defeated. Marcus pulled up a holographic image of the solar system. The 9 planets orbited their star, small and fragile against the vastness of space. Earth, the blue jewel, the cradle of humanity. Then we show them, he said. We activate Eclipse Protocol. 6 months later, the Vraxian Grand Armada entered the solar system. It was the largest military fleet ever assembled in galactic history. 200,000 warships, pulled from every corner of the Vraxian Empire, and bolstered by mercenary fleets desperate for payment. They emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, a wall of metal and firepower stretching across millions of kilometers. Emperor Vraxthul stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Conqueror's Fang, and looked at the primitive system before him. One small yellow star, a few rocky planets, and Earth, the homeworld of the species that had humiliated him. "All ships advance," he commanded. "We will glass every planet in this system. We will shatter their moon. We will make Earth a dead rock, and the galaxy will remember what happens to those who defy the Vraxian Empire." The Armada moved forward like a tidal wave of destruction. On Earth, in the command center, alarms blared. 200,000 contacts, the sensor officer reported, her voice steady despite the fear everyone felt. "They are positioning for planetary bombardment." "Where is the Phantom Armada?" asked President Elena Rodriguez, who had traveled to the command center for this moment. "Already in position," Marcus replied calmly. "They have been waiting for 3 days, phased just outside normal space, invisible to Vraxian sensors." "But, Madam President, we are not going to fight them." Elena turned to him sharply. "What? 200,000 ships are about to destroy our world, and you are not going to fight?" "Fighting would mean thousands of human casualties," Marcus explained. "It would mean years of warfare, and it would not solve the fundamental problem. The galaxy needs to understand that attacking Earth is not just difficult. It must be impossible. It must be unthinkable." He pressed a button, and the holographic display changed, showing the sun at the center of the solar system. "We are going to make them understand that we can do more than just destroy ships. We are going to show them that we can control stars themselves." Sarah Chen stepped forward. "Eclipse Protocol. We are really doing this?" "We have no choice," Marcus said. "If we just defeat this fleet, they will build another, and another. We need to end this threat permanently. We need to make every species in the galaxy understand that Earth is not to be touched." He opened a communication channel to the Phantom Armada. "All ships, this is Admiral Webb. Proceed with Eclipse Protocol. May God forgive us." Across the solar system, 500 dark matter warships began to move. They did not attack the Vraxian fleet. Instead, they traveled toward the sun, taking positions around the star in a perfect sphere. On the Conqueror's Fang, the Vraxian tactical officer noticed the movement. "My Emperor, the human ships are surrounding the star. I do not understand their strategy." Vrax Thul laughed. "They are desperate. They cannot face our armada directly, so they hide behind their sun. Pathetic. All ships, prepare to fire on Earth. We will destroy their homeworld while they watch helplessly." But then something impossible happened. The sun began to go dark. It started at one point, a black spot that appeared on the star's surface. Then it spread, like ink spilling across a canvas. The darkness grew, consuming the light, wrapping around the star like a cocoon. Within minutes, the sun was completely hidden, encased in a shell of absolute blackness. The solar system plunged into darkness. "What is happening?" Vraxthul roared. "What are they doing?" On Earth, Marcus watched the displays with a heavy heart. The Phantom Armada is creating a dark matter shell around the sun. They are containing the star's energy, redirecting it. For the next 10 minutes, the sun will be completely blocked. And then, Elena asked, though she already knew the answer, then we release it. All at once, in a directed pulse toward the Vraxian fleet. The Vraxian Armada was in chaos. Their ships, designed for space combat, suddenly found themselves blind in complete darkness. Sensors that relied on starlight failed. Navigation systems lost their reference points. 200,000 ships drifted in the void, unable to see, unable to coordinate. "Emergency lighting," Vraxthul commanded. "Use active scanners. Find those human ships." But the human ships were not there to be found. They remained at the sun, maintaining the dark matter shell, channeling unimaginable amounts of stellar energy into a weapon that would dwarf anything the galaxy had ever seen. Marcus counted down. 5 minutes until release. All Earth defense stations, prepare to protect the homeworld from backwash radiation. Around Earth, thousands of dark matter mines activated, forming a protective barrier. Mars, Venus, and the other planets had been evacuated weeks ago. Only Earth remained inhabited, and it would be shielded. On the Conqueror's Fang, the science officer suddenly gasped. "My Emperor, I am reading massive energy buildups. The star. The humans are not just blocking it. They are weaponizing it." Vraxthul felt true fear for the first time in his life. All ships retreat, emergency jump, get us out of this system now. But the human fleet had anticipated that too. Dark matter mines surrounded the hyperspace exit points. Any ship that tried to jump would be destroyed instantly. The Vraxian armada was trapped in the darkness, waiting for the light to return. When it did return, it came as judgment. The dark matter shell around the sun dissolved. 10 minutes of accumulated stellar energy, compressed and directed by dark matter fields, erupted in a massive directional pulse. It was not a bomb. It was not a laser. It was a star's fury, concentrated and aimed like the finger of an angry god. The wave of energy hit the Vraxian fleet traveling at the speed of light. There was no time to dodge, no time to raise shields, no time to do anything but exist for one final moment before ceasing to exist at all. 200,000 warships, the pride of the Vraxian Empire, were erased. Not destroyed, not disabled, but simply gone, converted to their component atoms and scattered across the solar system as a glowing cloud of plasma. When the light faded and the darkness receded, the sun shone again, beautiful and uncaring. And where the Vraxian armada had been, there was nothing but debris and radiation. In the Vraxian Empire, Emperor Vraxthul received the news in his palace. He had not gone with the fleet, sending his generals instead. Now he sat on his throne, staring at the empty holographic display that should have shown his victorious armada. Gone, he whispered. All of them. Gone. A communication came through. Admiral Marcus Webb's face appeared on the screen. Emperor Vraxthul, Marcus said, his voice tired and sad. Your fleet entered our system with the intent to commit genocide. We responded by demonstrating our capability. We can make stars go dark. We can weaponize the energy that all life depends on. We can do things that the galaxy has never imagined. Vraxthul wanted to rage, to threaten, to promise revenge. But he had no more fleets, no more allies, no more options. But, Marcus continued, we do not want to be conquerors. We do not want to rule the galaxy. We want to be left alone to live in peace. So I am making you an offer. Surrender completely, disarm your military, and accept concordant oversight. In exchange, we will not come for your homeworld. We will not erase your species from existence.